Continuing to work full-time while hoping things will change can feel like climbing a ladder that never reaches the top until one moment makes it clear something must change. If your proven work ethic isn't bringing you closer to your dream lifestyle, this is for you, especially if you don't know where the years went. It feels like you blinked and here you are. Now it's about choosing a path that moves you forward. I'm Karina, your dream guide, and here we look beyond the noise on the internet to explore what actually creates movement toward the life you desire. Watch until the end to discover what a woman uncovered and how it could open the door for you to move beyond getting by and begin building a life that reflects the dream lifestyle you want. If you're feeling the weight of the decision to stay on your job or break free and live your dream lifestyle, the link is in the description that lays out the full picture so you can see how this path works, what's involved, and what to expect before you see if it fits your life. A breaking point that changes everything. Sometimes the moment that changes everything is not dramatic to anyone else but to you. It becomes impossible to ignore. For Paula, that moment came while she was sitting in her living room and noticed her son had duct tape wrapped around the end of his shoe. He had not asked for a new pair, and he had not said a word, which made it even more powerful because children often understand more than we realize. In that moment, Paula saw that her son already knew their situation without having to explain it. Additionally, she was still door dashing, still working long hours, and still doing what she could to get by, but that image made her realize something deeper. That was no longer temporary. That was the moment that she decided she could not keep living like that. For many people at your stage of life, that kind of realization does not come from one big event, but from a quiet moment that suddenly feels too heavy to carry. However, realizing something has to change does not immediately show you what to do next, because once you reach that point, the question becomes, what path is actually realistic when you're already stretched for time and energy? Simple answers remove invisible barriers. When Paula first saw this opportunity, she did what most people do. She questioned it. She had seen things before that sounded promising, but were not meant for someone like her, so she kept scrolling. However, when life pressed harder, the same opportunity appeared again. She decided to ask a few simple questions instead of dismissing it. She wanted to know if she needed a degree because that had always felt like a barrier. The answer was no. She asked if she could do it from home because her life required flexibility. The answer was yes. She finally asked if she needed to be on the phone because with children around, that was not realistic. The answer was no. Those answers mattered because they removed the assumptions that had been holding her back. And once those barriers started to fall, she became willing to take a closer look. Once those doubts began to ease, the next question became whether this could actually work in real life. Because understanding something is possible is one thing, but seeing it work is what changed belief. Following a system changes everything. Paula did not come into this with a perfect background or prior experience in online business. Instead, she came in with something more important. She was willing to learn and willing to follow the process. Additionally, she did not have to figure out everything on her own, which is where many people lose momentum because trying to build something without guidance often leads to confusion and burnout. She followed the system even though she did not do everything perfectly, and then one morning something happened that she said she will never forget. She picked up her phone and saw that her first customer had come through. It was $900 from someone she had never spoken to, never called, and never chased. That moment overwhelmed her, not just because of the money, but because it showed her something that she had not fully believed before, that this could actually work for her. She started crying, trying not to wake up her children, and repeating that it worked because, after so much pressure, that first result represented proof. If you're ready to move beyond relying only on a job and start building something that fits your life, The link in the description shows you a structured path people your age are following step by step. It explains how it works, what to expect, and how to move forward without guessing or overcomplicating the process. Now, for Paula, the result was only the part of the transformation, because what mattered even more was how this new way of working began to change her everyday life. A new way of working changes daily life. Before this, Paula's days were filled with constant movement. Door dashing meant early mornings, late nights, and long hours on the road, all while trying to keep everything together. Even with that effort, she felt like she was barely getting by. Fortunately, this business introduced a completely different rhythm. She could work from home, use her phone, and fit business activities into her day without the pressure of inventory, shipping, or overhead. Additionally, there was no monthly fees draining her progress. So the system handled the selling and explaining, which meant she was not trying to do everything on her own. That shift changed how her days felt. Being able to stand in her kitchen and cook dinner may seem simple, but for her it meant something had changed. She finally had time to be present. And that is what many people are really searching for at your stage of life. Not just income, but time, space, and the way of working that fits your reality. Additionally, when your daily life begins to shift, the way you see yourself begins to change as well. Because once you realize you can learn something new and create a different outcome, you stop feeling stuck. The real shift is who you become. Paula did not start with confidence or certainty. She was skeptical, nervous, and unsure whether she could do it, which makes her story relatable to anyone who feels behind or uncertain about starting something new. However, through the process, she developed skills she had never learned before, including marketing, understanding how online systems work, and building something that operates without constant effort. More importantly, she realized she did not need a perfect background to move forward. She needed a willingness to learn and a willingness to put in the effort. That realization changed how she saw her future, because now, instead of wondering if things might improve, she can actually see a path forward. So if you're retirement age, still working and wondering whether life can become more than just getting through each day, maybe the question is not whether it is possible. Maybe the question is whether this is the moment you decide to take a closer look. You do not have to have everything figured out before taking the next step. The link in the description below shows how the path works, what it looks like in real life, and whether it fits what you're looking for. To continue forward, watch the video on your screen. Go deeper into creating more time, moving forward your dream lifestyle and a future that feels different.